YouTube and do an audio check on Facebook, and then we'll go ahead and get started, guys. Again, I'm aiming to do these twice daily. Some of these markets might be, I wouldn't say smaller, but they might be too affluent where it won't make sense for me to do like the market analysis in the morning and then the list pull in the evening. But again, this is a work in progress. So we'll just see where this takes us. But again, we have over 55 markets, guys, that we can analyze that are over a million population, which is just insane. All right, let me go ahead and make sure this is posted in my Facebook group, and I'll get started. All right, great. So let's go ahead and get into it. Again, guys, today what we are going over is analyzing that market in Austin, Texas. I just want to make sure my audio is good on YouTube here. Okay, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, cool. Okay, so again, we did Atlanta yesterday. If you didn't catch that stream, go ahead and check that. We're going in alphabetical order. Again, all the zip codes that are over 1 million in population estimate based off of the census. So we have about 2.4 million in population for Austin. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Analysis. All right, so the first thing I need to do, guys, is, well, not pull up Atlanta. I need to pull up my other zip code analysis sheet. All right, there we are. All right, the first thing we need to do is actually get all of the get all the counties in the Austin MSA. Again, when you're analyzing these MSAs, metropolitan statistical areas, you only want to put in the counties and zip codes for those counties in one sheet. So I'm not going to have Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, and Houston all on one spreadsheet because we want to compare apples with apples. You guys probably have heard the term from realtors, but it applies to investors as well. Real estate is local. Location matters, but the regional nature of real estate is important. It's like we have little mini kingdoms here. That's how I look at different MSAs and cities. Like I look at them like they're kingdoms, and one kingdom may be thriving and another one may not, even though they're part of the same realm. Okay. So let's look at Rome. So one area in Rome could have been thriving. And even though another area all the way hundreds of miles away was underneath the same tutelage of the Roman Empire, it could be suffering. So in the United States, it's the same thing. You can have one market that's super up and then one market that's down. That's why I was never really concerned that we were going to encounter some sort of great recession like people were anticipating in 2023. I just didn't see the same homogenous factors taking place in 2022 and 2023 that happened in 2008 in that crash, right? There was a lot of, I wouldn't say collusion, maliciously and unintentionally, I guess, a lot of collusion and a lot of factors that occurred and had to take place for that to happen at a grand scale. I just think there's too many checks and balances now. With how lending is operating, I think there's too many sophisticated algorithms that will ensure we're not in a situation where subprime lending is going on. What I anticipated was going to happen when everybody was screaming a recession back in 2023 was just that the markets were going to go back to their pre-pandemic levels. So we saw a spike in home prices in 2021, 2022, and 2020 and 2023. If the market in some of these areas, if the prices increased by 20% in some of these areas, I just anticipated it was just going to go back down to 20%. So it's like it just balanced out. It's not like people lost significant equity from the actual home value that they had. It's not like they had a 20% dip. The market just corrected itself again. So when I look at the real estate markets, I look at them regionally, and I just think it's very foolhardy to indicate that we're going to be in a recession real estate market wide. I think that's just a very easy way out to convince yourself, if things aren't going well with you in your real estate market, that the market's just down. That's not it. Guys, all these MSAs over here, there's going to be some market here, or a handful of markets that are really performing well. That's why I'm doing this exercise. And even if some of these markets are not doing well, I guess ubiquitously, if there's more than 100 zip codes, some of these have close to 200, 300 zip codes, you're going to have a situation where you're going to have a lot of opportunity just in a handful of zip codes. So out of thousands of zip codes, you can't tell me that there's not going to be some that are going to be worth targeting and there's going to be opportunity there. That's what we're looking for here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my zip code analysis sheet. And then I'm going to, not my zip code analysis sheet. I'm just going to figure out how many counties and which counties are in the Austin, Texas area. And I always start at Wikipedia. So it looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 counties. Okay, so Travis County is the county with it's the most populous county. Williamson is next, Hayes, Bastrop, and then Caldwell. I hope I'm pronouncing this one right, Bastrop. So let's go ahead into my sheet, and this is going to be a lot easier than Atlanta. I've done Austin before, but I want to do it again so you guys can just see the exercise here. So I always like starting off with the most populous county. So that is going to be Travis. Okay. All right, there's only one Travis County in the United States. Looks good. So that gives us about 48 zips. Williamson is next. So a couple of counties in the United States named Williamson. We just want the Texas ones. Hayes County is next. Okay. So about six zip codes. Bastrop. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, we're looking at Caldwell County. This is the smallest, it's the smallest market here. All right, great. All right, so cool. Caldwell County, and we're looking at about 4 or 5 zip codes here. All right, so in total we have this is a smaller one. We have about 84 zip codes. So off the bat, you know, I like seeing markets with more than 100 zip codes before I start narrowing it down, because I know once I start narrowing this criteria down, I'm going to probably be left with 40 or 50 zips. Does that mean there's nothing there? No. But in my mind, what I'm thinking is maybe I can target this market if I want to go virtual here with another market, right? With another market in Texas, and target both at once. Trying to sustain a real estate wholesaling company where you're trying to get maybe 4 or 5 deals a month with 2 marketing channels, and we're doing text and cold calling right now, that may not be the best play. Now, I'm not saying you can't survive in this market just solely doing it, but I would say in some of these smaller markets like this, and really these more affluent markets or mid affluent markets, you probably need to be there physically. I think there's some markets that just perform better if you're actually there physically. I think this is one of them. You can make it work, but as a virtual market, just off the top of my head, I would probably say, hey, you know what? This isn't an area that I would target. But again, I haven't done the whole exercise. I'm just going off a hunch, and I'm just going off of things I've seen in Texas and Austin previously. So I'm actually going to try to back up my thesis up with actual data. Okay. But before that, let me just make sure I'm good here audio wise. Okay. So shout out to the person who screenshot the seller list up there. If you need a seller list, guys, screenshot that little feed, excuse me, that little QR code rather, and it'll take you to a quick Google form, and I'll call you today. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get back to it. Cool. All right, so again, the data that we're seeing here is 2021 data to the left, and then we're seeing 2023 data to the right. So I'm going to just look at the averages of, or do the average formula for all these median sale prices for every zip code in this MSA. Again, guys, we go on Wikipedia so we can actually see like how many counties are in the MSA. And then I go to my form here. And if you want the form, guys, you get this for free, this spreadsheet on buildtoscalerealestate.com. So you just have to put in your email and it'll get sent to you. It comes with my objection sheet for sellers, and it comes with a cold calling script. But right now I'm offering this to you guys for free. So buildtoscalerealestate.com. But again, all these counties, I take the counties and then I just take the zip codes in those counties and then put those in a separate spreadsheet. Okay. And then I do the average for the median sale price, days on market, and a home sold. I usually only do it for 2023, but I actually want to see like how big of a leap, some of these zip codes I've taken in these metrics here over the course of 2 years, because I know it's been a lot. Austin, Texas, from 2021 to 2023, big change. So first, I'm just going to freeze this top row here. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So the average of the median sale price, 386K. That is a lot for back then. I know it's going to be higher now. The average of the days on market, 50. And the average of the homes sold, and this is in 2021 in April. This is going to be 32. Okay. So I'm just going to drag this formula over for the 2023 data, which is the most updated data I have for the spreadsheet. And we're looking at like 556,000. That's a lot, guys. Then we're looking at 54 days on market. So days on market is pretty much the same. And then 110 homes sold. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I just want to go on Redfin just to see what some of these zip codes are looking like now. Market insights. Okay, so 1.8 million. That's for that's going to be September 2000, or it's August rather, of 2024 for 78746. So 1.4. Okay, so 1.8, still $1 million price range. Let's skip around here. I just want to make sure that the data that I have from last year to this year is like matching up a little bit. It's not so wildly off. So 78722 was 650,000 as a median sale price. Okay, this is 700,000 for last year. 26 homes sold, 32 days on market. So 25 homes sold, 56 days on market. So homes sold is basically the same. Days on market's a little bit higher compared to this data right here. But this data I'm looking at is at the tail end of summer. Okay, so cool. All right, so most of this data does look the same based off of what I'm looking at from last year to this year. But guys, Austin is an affluent market. I do the exercise. I sort of already knew this, but I do the exercise just so I can show you guys how I would eliminate certain markets that I want to go into. Now, I'm not saying that there's nothing here. Guys, there's gold here. But let's go ahead and start going through the zip codes that I would target. Now, as an investor, you may find that this is a great market to be in if you're wanting to do novations, right? So if you're doing novations, or you're doing, even if you're a realtor, guys, I think a lot of realtors and the realtors that watch my content, you guys that are also investors, man, I think you guys really should start focusing on marketing to your sellers as your listings like you're an investor. Like I think that's a leap that not a lot of agents have made. I think what a lot of agents do that are investors, they look at their marketing like they're an investor first. And if they get any deals from it, they'll get deals from it, right? From their investor marketing. If they get any listings from it, they'll say, okay, well, that's a bonus. But they're looking at their marketing as if it's wholesale or novations type marketing. If any listings come out of it, that's a bonus. I think a lot of realtors and brokers should start putting marketing campaigns together just for your leads. I mean, I'm not an agent, I'm not a broker, I don't know the laws or anything like that, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's any laws or what was it, National Real Estate Association, not NRA, NAR, National Association of Realtors, correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think they're going to bar you from doing your own marketing. Is there anything that's stopping you guys from doing that? It seems like a lot of agents are almost like in the sit and wait type game. And I'm just like, if I was an agent, I wouldn't be sitting and waiting for them to give me records. I would scrounge up some more money, put it on a credit card, and do my own campaign. And you would have a much better response rate cold calling these people yourself, or even texting them yourself, or even setting up a VA team to call and vet the leads for you, just like you were an investor. And guess what? You're going to be able to convert a lot more of these from to listings, because you're not going to be going after just people where you're giving cash offers to, or even super motivated people, right? You know, if somebody wants to list, man, you could probably get 10 listings out of a 10,000 record texting list and cold calling list over the course of 60 days. Because I know I can get at least 4 contracts out of a cold calling and texting campaign to a month over 60 days. So I know a realtor can get 5 solid listings, 10 probable. Okay, just depending on how long you've done that. I just don't understand why realtors don't make that intellectual leap. And correct me if I'm wrong here, if I'm looking at this incorrectly, but it just confuses me. It just confuses me. And I don't know if I should be marketing my services to realtors, but I really do think they could use some marketing assistance. But I think a lot of them aren't in a position where their paradigms are in a position rather where they feel comfortable spending money on marketing. I think a lot of them learn that they should be getting referrals, or doing a lot of manual work, and the listings should come organically. And that just blows my mind again. That's great and everything, but I'm just a huge fan of controlling your destiny. And this is how you control your destiny. I don't just sit back and wait for sellers to come in my pipeline. I don't sit back and wait for clients to come in my pipeline for selling my marketing services. I'm proactively reaching out to people, cold calling people, right? Cold calling sellers. If it's not me, it's my team. Okay. You're able to control your own destiny at that point. Okay, guys, I'm off my little soapbox. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the data here as if we were an investor. Overall, guys, this is a very, very affluent market. I'm going to go to eig.org and just show you guys something here. So let me go to eig.org. Go back to this. Okay, let's go to the window here. Chrome tab. And just a good way that you guys can graphically see what's going on here. And I'll drop this here in the comment section. Okay. Or just on the chat. So if you go to that website, guys, you can graphically see in your market, in any market in the United States, how distressed or how prosperous, affluent an area is. Okay. And so I love this website. And part of the data set on my spreadsheet to the right, where it says prosperous, at risk, distress, that came from this data set over here. So if we go to Austin, Texas, we can see just 30,000 foot view without even having to do this analysis exercise, which I still encourage you guys to do. Guys, this is all blue. Guys, this is pretty much all blue. The more blue it is, the more affluent an area is. Okay. The more brown it is, the more distress. We have 15%. That's still like a lot. Less than 51 million people. There's over 6 million people. Excuse me. There's over 6 million people in this MSA, I'm pretty sure. And we have this little sliver right here, I guess, of people that's in this distressed area. And that zip code is, let's zoom back in here. Let me try to find that zip code. Austin. Oh, not Austin County. Austin, Texas. Okay. So I don't. Okay, so I lost where that area was, but anyway, the point still stands is that most of Austin, Texas, Travis County is affluent. And why is this important? Guys, yes, people have emotional distress here in these areas, but these people are going to be more savvy with and have more resources with buying and selling their homes. They're not going to be our ideal prospect. They're not going to be in very difficult situations. Guys, even health wise, and I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Health wise, guys, people that are in these areas are not going to be in a situation where their health is a priority. There was a running joke with a company that I work with here in Charlotte, and their acquisitions manager and myself, we used to joke around and say most of the people that they would buy houses from just left the hospital. They're cigarette smokers and they shop at Walmart. So again, people living in affluent communities, guys, one thing you won't get from me is the PC, politically correct, all this wokeism stuff. That's not me. I look at data, and if the data matches that, I'll go with that. But what the data tells me is that poor people don't prioritize their health. Poor people are fit the higher demographic to smoke. Poor people are going to be hoarders. They're going to be individuals that are most likely they'll be in distress situations and will need to buy their houses from. Like, that's going to be our demographic. And so affluent individuals are going to be waking up in the morning, taking a walk in the morning, drinking their morning coffee, going to yoga, prioritizing their health. They're probably not going to smoke cigarettes. Most of the places, even outside of some of these locations, not obviously inside some of the restaurants and stores, you can't smoke, but even outside, some of these areas are completely smoke free, vaping, nicotine, and all that. So these individuals aren't going to have chronic health issues as that are prolonged and as pronounced as individuals that are in more distressed communities. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, guys. So we can make a lot of inferences about the type of demographic in an affluent area and why that's not our target demographic. Okay. These people aren't going to have issues with, I wouldn't say gambling because, sports betting and that's an issue with a lot of white collar folks, affluent folks. But I would say scratch off lottery tickets, chronic debt type, situations, getting in situations where they're getting loan shark, high credit card debt, refinancing their house, like poor financial discipline. They're not going to be ubiquitously found. Those individuals are not going to be ubiquitously found in affluent areas. Again, so I'm not just saying in these blue, wealthy, prosperous areas, our demographics not going to be there, but we can make a lot of intellectual leaps and logical inferences that are logically sound based off of based off of how affluent an area is. Okay. So that's why, in a very circuitous and long-winded answer, why our ideal individual won't be in an area that's pretty much all blue. Does that make sense, guys? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So if you just want to get a quick and dirty 30,000 foot view, literally, of like what's going on in your market, you could go to this website that I posted in the live chat comments there, and you guys can see what your area looks like. Now, you may say, well, CC, man, that's a lot of brown. Why don't you target all these other areas that are brown and orange? My friends, that's a great question. Well, over half of the markets, half of the zip codes in the United States are rural or are distressed. So, half of the distressed zip codes in the United States are rural. So these aren't going to be ideal places to target. I mean, they're going to be in the middle of nowhere. You're not going to be picking up any properties here in some of these areas. So that's just to keep in mind. We want to find a populous area that has a lot of distress. So high density areas with a lot of distress. That's super important. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back to our zip code analysis sheet. and let's go ahead and finish this sucker up. All right, so let's go back to the zip code analysis sheet. So let's look at the average here, 556,000 as a median sale price. Guys, I like targeting markets that are around 350K and below. 250K, 275K, that's a sweet spot as far as our demographic. Those people are going to be very cooperative, and you're not going to have a lot of war zone type properties like junker properties. You know, you could be in an area where the median sale prices are like 150,000. I don't think there's too many populated MSAs like that out here, but you could be in an area like that, and you'll have sellers giving away their homes, but you won't have any buyers for them. So it's a balance here. We want an area where you have cooperative sellers and sellers that want to work with you, but not overly cooperative where they're trying to give away their homes, and then you have no buyers. It's like a seesaw here. So we want an area where we have a lot of cooperative and motivated sellers, and also a decent amount of buyers, right? You can have a lot of buyers and no cooperative sellers. Like those are your affluent markets, like in Austin. And I'm not saying you can't get deals here. You're just going to have to do more marketing, and it's going to take you more leads to generate one contract. And that's what you have to be prepared for. So it may take you 100 texting leads to get one contract in this market, and 20,000 prospects to text versus me generating 30 leads and getting one contract in some of the other markets I'm in where the median sale prices are lower. Guys, 54 days on market, I'm not a huge fan of that, right? That's, really 50 is the max I like looking at, but that tells me that if I have a cash buyer, he's going to be looking at this market and saying, well, I can either go to this market or maybe another market in Texas or outside of the state and flip some homes in those areas, and they could go in 30 days versus almost 2 months sitting on the market. So when we look at days on market, I'm looking at this from my cash buyer's perspective. So we don't want to be in an area like a zip code. I know there's just one home sold here, but where there's 125 days on market, or even 69 days on market, or 82 days on market. Guys, there's some zip codes here I wouldn't even target, just merely because of that. You're not going to have buyers in this area. It's going to be very difficult moving these properties. And again, we're not doing outbound marketing. We're not pulling lists in these areas because we're not pulling lists in these areas the same way that we would just target PPC. Our advantage, or do pay per lead, or PPC rather, excuse me. Our advantage with curating our own list in these, and doing outbound marketing, is that we can get targeted with the individual and locations that we want to go to. Okay. If we're not doing our market research, this performs just as well as pay per lead. Well, pay per lead performs better because they're just going to say, well, let's just target the whole state, or let's just target the whole United States. The advantage here is that we can use this data to our advantage to eliminate any of these low density areas. Any of these low density areas, any of these areas we don't want to be in. So we don't want to just target locations just merely for the fact that we want to be in a particular MSA or a particular market. We don't just want to do that. Now, what you can do is, let's just say there's only a handful of zip codes that are worthy of targeting here as an investor. Well, at that point, guys, you're going to want to do cluster marketing. That's when you use multiple marketing channels, not just texting, not just cold calling, but maybe RVM, maybe voice broadcast. And then that's what actually helps being in the actual market. Bandit signs. One of my clients does bandit signs, right? Door knocking. Okay. Having a great cash buyer network, really, you as the investor having a solid network of buyers that are always looking for any conventional and unconventional properties. Guys, expanding your list criteria out to lots. So in some of these affluent markets, one advantage that you have here is there might be a lot of infill lots, meaning lots that just were not developed when the subdivisions were developed, whether they be 5, 10, 20, 30 plus years ago, or homes that have burned down over the years and developed neighborhoods. They have water, sewer hookups. They already have a foundation. They just need a structure to be put on them. Those types of lots are great for spec builds, and those are great lots to target, and that's a great demographic to target when you're in these affluent areas. So that's how I survived, and not just survived, thrived in my first couple of years being in real estate in Charleston, South Carolina. My first 2 years, and you guys that know my story have heard this before, my first 2 years in real estate, I primarily just targeted one neighborhood, and we wholesaled over 1/6 of a neighborhood. And they were majority lots that we closed to one developer. So it was over 80 parcels, close to 40 to 60 closings, probably closer to 60 closings. But a lot of the homeowners we wholesaled the lots from, most of them were like package deals. They were like 1 or 2 lots at a time. Okay. Sometimes 3, sometimes 4 or 5. But my largest deal and my first deal I closed was a 26 lot and single family home deal from a family of 3 individuals. Okay. So in these areas, you can target landowners. So it's not just single family residences. So you have to be creative in these areas, because if you're trying to target all these zip codes and just single family homeowners or duplexes, tris, and quads, then you might just be targeting stuff that's just not, people aren't going to resonate with your message. So here's how I would go about this. Let me go ahead and share my entire screen with you so you guys can actually see my filters that I would have here. So here's how I would do this. So again, 500K, I'll probably go up to 700K as the ceiling for the median sale price. I don't like going up that high, but this is an affluent market. So we have to take that in consideration, because if I go down to 500,000 or 400,000, I'm not going to have any zips here. Also, 2 days on market, we're looking at, honestly, I don't want to target anything that's over 50 days on market, but that's going to eliminate a lot. So I'll go up to 60. That's stretching it a little bit. And then home sold, I don't want to see any zip code that has fewer than, I like doing 50, but if I do 50, that might, I want to see greater than 50 homes sold, but that might eliminate a lot of these zips. At the minimum, I would do 20 homes sold. So I'm going to do 20 homes sold just so it gives me a little bit more data to work with. And that gives me about 41 zip codes to target. 41 zip codes. So I want to sort these by the median sale price, lowest to highest. So we're looking at 290K here in Caldwell, 36 days on market, and then 91 homes sold. Okay. Low density, comfortable. Okay, so a lot of these are comfortable and prosperous, again, in the blue area, but all these are targetable. So guys, I'm going to stop there. Again, this is a smaller MSA, so it didn't take me that long to get here. What we're going to do this evening, so come back at 7 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and go through some of the criteria, including land criteria that I will put together for this market, and also just some other lists that I can put together. If I were a realtor, if I were going after novations, creative financing, this market works perfectly for there. And I also just show you guys which zip codes I would probably target first and which ones I would target last. All right, guys, that wraps up this call. Again, I don't want to make these too long, an hour tops, and I will see you guys later. Okay, chat later.